am live. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Friday, everybody's favorite day. I hope you got big plans for the weekend, and I hope that you will relax and enjoy yourself. It's probably going to snow on Saturday night here in Vancouver, just in case you're thinking about your weekend plans. Maybe one of the things I will mention to you, and this will only apply to students in Vancouver, but sometimes there's a small possibility we might have a snow day on Monday. So if it snows too much on Sunday and transportation is slowed down or backed up or whatever, there is a possibility that we'll close the college on Monday. But class still continues regardless. So I'll do this, but I'll do it from my home. And so you will tune in online. So we won't come to class, but classes are still on. So it's not that good. So I mean, you can stay in your pajamas and attend class, so that's all right. But only if it's a snow day, if it's called a snow day. And so on Monday morning, before you get ready to go, check the college website, check your college email, and see if it says anything about a snow day, college is closed. If it doesn't say that, regular day, come on in, and we do our thing, okay?
So if it was a snow day, we cancel the quiz?
On Monday, yeah, I guess we might have to. Yeah, I guess I have to be ready for that. Okay, no problem. Yeah, so we would push the quiz to Tuesday if it was a snow day on Monday. Probably won't be. We get maybe like one snow day a year, maybe. So I don't know. But again, check your email, check the college website on Monday morning. And Brenda, our vice principal operations, she will be the one who makes the call, yes or no. And so she'll send an email, and it'll go up on the website saying the college is closed or the college is open. And if it's open, you just come in here. If the college is closed, I will continue to do class, but I'll just do it from my home rather than anywhere else. Oh, good morning. Please come in. Okay, I'm going to say hi to some people. So Amanpreet is here. Good morning, Amanpreet. Nicole is here. Good morning, Nicole. Simrat is here. Good morning, Simrat. Azza's here. Good morning, Azza. Abby's here. Good morning, Abby. And Ryan is here. Good morning to you, sir. And Shania is here. Hello, Shania. Good morning. Okay, so I just finished doing a little bit of a spiel on snow days, right? So if it's really snowy on Monday morning, there is a small chance that the college will be closed. If it is, you'll have to check your email or the college website to be sure and to know if it's closed or not. If it's closed, we're still going to have class. I'm just going to do this from my home, and you can tune in online. So class either way. All right. So yesterday, we were, oh yeah, lucky you guys. We were just about to start talking about, or not talking about, but watching Mean Girls, right? And so, again, I said it's this Hollywood film. It was very popular when it came out. It's still reasonably popular. People still kind of like it and watch it. It's an entertaining movie. It's well written. It's pretty funny. It has a good message, particularly for young women in the end. But it has a lot of things going for it in terms of describing socialization and how social groups operate, how social norms are created, and how they're kind of enforced. All of those things are kind of tied into the movie. So the movie is very enjoyable to watch, I think. And even I like watching it, and it's not really, I'm not their target audience, let's face it, right? But it's an enjoyable movie to watch, but also there's a lot of stuff going on in this movie that is worth talking about. And so to that end, I have a few questions that I would like to ask you. And so I have, right, I talked about that, yes. I posted them in Microsoft Teams, so in the main chat, so you can sort of have a copy of them. But this is what I'll be asking you to pay attention to, okay? So here, Katie has been homeschooled before she arrives at public school. What kind of social rules does she not know? And why doesn't she know them? The high school in the film is composed of a number of different social groups, and those will be explained to us. So what do these groups demonstrate regarding social norms? Good morning, Scotty. And which criteria determines which group a person will belong to? So how, if you walked into the cafeteria, how would you know which group you would want to go sit with? That'll make sense in a bit. What kind of rules are the plastics? One social group in the school is called the plastics. What kind of rules are they required to follow or to observe, and how do they enforce those rules? Why do you think that Gretchen says it's better to be in a social group than not in one? That'll come up. Gretchen will say that. Why does Katie start to act like Regina? Of course, you'll meet both Katie and Regina. What does this demonstrate about socialization? And when Regina wears sweatpants and is required to sit at another table, again, that will make sense later, what aspect of socialization is being demonstrated? Have you seen this before? Okay. Duh, of course. Okay. So you know some of the things that happen. But hopefully, even if you've seen it before, this time you will look at it through a sociological lens. And maybe you'll see some different things, some things that were different than you were before, or than you saw before. Okay, so those are my questions, my 6 questions. They're posted in Microsoft Teams so that you can refer to them while we're watching. Here in class, of course, I'm just going to put it on the screen and we're going to watch it. But as you might imagine, I cannot live stream a Hollywood movie on my YouTube channel, or the video will get taken down and I'll probably get sued, right? So that would be bad. Fortunately, for those of you online, we can access this film. And so we're going to access it through the Columbia College Library, through a site that we have access to called Criterion On Demand. And so what you'll do to find this movie is you'll go to the Columbia College website, which is columbiacollege.ca. When you get there, you'll click on the library. You can see my little finger there. That's not the middle finger. That's pointy finger. Yeah. You'll go to the next page. This is the library page, and you'll see Find Materials there on the bottom left. So you'll click on that. And then after you do that, you will come to the Find Materials page, and you'll go right to the bottom. You'll go Streaming Videos. Okay, so you can access streaming videos here, which is what we'll do. When you get to that streaming videos thing, you'll see that there's a big list. I've just selected C here, and so just 2 of them show up, Criterion On Demand and Curio. So we're going to click Criterion On Demand. I don't know why my finger is floating in the middle of the screen there. That's weird, but you'll click Criterion On Demand, and that will bring you to this page, and you can just type in Mean Girls in the search function, and you will be off to the races, and you'll be able to watch it, okay?
So, one question. Will this have subtitles?
I think so. Would you like them?
Yes.
Okay. So, and I think when you go to Criterion On Demand, people, if you want to watch the movie with the captions, the wording on the bottom, I think you can select that in Criterion, and I think I can select it here as well. So I'll put it on the screen for you to make life easier. Okay. So let's say. So let's say we'll watch 30 minutes of this. We'll watch the first 30 minutes. We'll take a good morning. We'll watch the first 30 minutes of it. We'll take a little break, and then we'll come back and talk about what we've seen, okay? So for online people, that will mean that you're going to come back here in about 40 minutes. So I'm just going to give you 42 just to put something on the clock so we can easily keep track. And so online people, through the college website, library, find materials, streaming videos, Criterion On Demand, and then search for Mean Girls and you should find it. Other than that, enjoy. watch the first 30 minutes, take a 10-minute break, then come back here and we'll talk about what we've seen. Okay, have fun. Okay, and we are, I'm going to hide this, and we're back. So hopefully you enjoyed the first 30 minutes of the film. Sorry, I'm just going to skip back a little bit. Yeah, and so we've kind of seen what the movie is about. We've been introduced to kind of the major characters, right? We've seen Katie and Regina and Gretchen and Karen and Aaron Samuels and who else? And Janice and Damien and Ms. Norbury and the principal, whose name I can't remember. Who else? Okay, I think that's probably most of the main characters, right? We met Jason, but he won't really show up again. So the first question I asked you here was that Katie has been homeschooled, right? Before she arrives at this public high school. She's been in Africa with her parents who are zoologists or biologists or something. And so, yeah, she's never really been to a real school, quote unquote. And so she's dropped into this school. And what kind of social rules does she not know? Yeah, so she kind of comes in and she's a little bit clueless about where to sit, right? Because all the students kind of know who each other is, and they know who they want to sit with, and they know who they don't want to sit with because maybe they fart a lot, right? So the students that are there have some kind of knowledge of the social landscape, whereas she's just like, I don't know where to go, right? What else does she not know? How so? Yeah, so there's kind of a little bit of a, when we'll get to stereotypes later, but there's kind of a stereotype that comes up, right? Because Katie's from Africa, and so who are they expecting to be a student from Africa? Yeah, they're expecting a black person, right? So of course, Ms. Norbury finds out she has a new student from Africa, and she looks at the one black student in the room and says, "Oh, welcome." And she's like, "I'm from Michigan." So, yeah, a little bit funny, but yeah, there's a bit of a stereotype there that is exposed, right? What else? What other rules does Katie not know? Right, she just kind of gets up and is going to head to the bathroom, but she doesn't realize that you have to ask permission. And apparently there's a little pass that you need to go to the bathroom, which I find ridiculous, but I don't like to police people's bowel movements and things. I don't feel like that's my business, but anyway, here we go. There's a pass you need to go to the bathroom, right? So she doesn't know that. What else does she not know? The Halloween, yeah, she doesn't know about Halloween costumes, right? So she knows about Halloween, people dress up, and go to a party, but she doesn't realize that girls are allowed to dress in a very revealing fashion and that they are kind of expected to. And so she puts on an appropriate Halloween costume, right? Like a scary Halloween costume, but she doesn't realize that there's this other expectation for high schoolers and high school girls, right? And, Aaron Samuels, great creativity on the football costume. Like, he probably plays football. He probably just wore his uniform, which probably stinks. Come on, Aaron. We know you're beautiful, but think a little bit, would you? No, anyway. Right, so she doesn't know the rules about Halloween and how to dress up, right? What else does she not know? Right, so there's no eating in class. She doesn't realize that. What else does she not know?
What actions would put her higher or lower in the social hierarchy? Like, she joined the math competition thing.
Yeah.
And people keep telling her it's social suicide.
Right. So, yeah. So one thing is that there is a social hierarchy in this school, right? There are people at the top that have status and power and respect. And then there's people at the bottom who don't have so much of those things, right? And so I'm not entirely sure that she's aware of that structure, right? Damien and Janice try to explain it to her, but I'm not sure that she's aware of it, and I'm not sure that she knows where she fits. And like you said, she doesn't really know what actions will move her up or down the ladder, right? And so she's good at math, she likes math. The mathletes say, hey, come join us. And she's like, okay. And yeah, Damien's like, no, that's social suicide, right? That'll push you down the ladder if you're in the mathletes. Don't do that. Yeah, but she has no idea of any of those things. What else does she not know?
You tell us.
No. My job is to ask the questions. Your job is to provide the answers, sometimes. You can ask me questions too, but
She can't trust everyone.
she can't. But does she?
Yeah.
Or does she want to?
Told everyone about her crush.
Yeah, she did. She did tell. Yeah, she told Gretchen and Karen that she had a bit of a crush on Aaron Samuels. Would you say that she is maybe a little bit too naive and too trusting? Maybe a little bit. Yeah. So she doesn't, right? She's probably spent her life surrounded by, her family and friends of her family and people who have been good to her, and so she is trusting, and she doesn't realize that there's, people out there who will be awful to her for a bunch of reasons, which we'll get to later. Yeah, so she hasn't really learned that lesson either, that she can't trust everyone, and everyone is not acting in a way that is going to be like kind and friendly toward her, right? But she'll discover that. Anything else that she doesn't know? There might be a few more, but we'll come to that. Why doesn't she know these rules? She was homeschooled, and therefore she was not what? Yeah, she has not been socialized into this society. She doesn't know the rules or norms of behavior or the values or beliefs that this little society holds. She doesn't know any of that stuff. And so, yeah, she comes in, she's totally clueless, right, Scotty? She's clueless. Yeah, she's totally clueless. And so so this first part of the movie actually is her, undergoing socialization, right? She's learning a lot of things about how her little society works, what the social hierarchy is, what the norms of behavior are, where she kind of fits into that social structure, how she should behave, how she should dress. All of that is, she's kind of learning, right? So big learning curve for Katie. This high school has a number of different social groups. What are some of these social groups? We met them as the camera went through the cafeteria. We met all of these groups. Who were they? Asian nerds, the jocks, the cool Asians. I guess that means that the Asian nerds are not cool, but okay. The cool Asians, the Asian nerds, the jocks. Who else?
People who eat their feelings.
The girls who eat their feelings, which is kind of a fancy way of saying they're a little overweight, right? What else?
Girls who don't eat.
The girls who don't eat anything, right? So there's like 6 girls around a table sharing a Diet Coke. God. What else? Yeah, the desperate wannabes, right? So the kids who really desperately want to be popular, but probably never will be. Who else?
Plastics.
The who?
Plastics.
Right, the plastics, the girl group, right? Who else? So Abby says the plastics, the girls who eat their feelings, the girls who don't eat at all. Oh, the burnouts. Who are the burnouts?
The one who gives up on dieting.
They've probably given up on dieting, yeah. They're they're the pot smokers, so they're kind of they're burnt out because they're always smoking weed. That's their thing. Oh, there's the art group. What do they call them? The
Art freaks.
or the art freaks, right? So they're all a little bit unique, different. Who else is there? There's the mathletes. Yeah, I guess we could call them. Let's call them a social group.
Also, that's the Asian nerds group.
There's probably members of the mathletes that are in the Asian nerds. That's probably true. Jocks.
Black people.
Oh yeah, the unfriendly black hotties, right? They're in there too. Yeah.
American public high school, like that.
Well, that's a question that I would like to ask you. Is that, does the high school here? This is North Shore High School. Does this high school bear any resemblance to schools that you have been to in the past? Not even a little bit?
Because our school is public high school.
It definitely is public high school. What do you, so no?
Low key.
What's that?
Low key. Like they're obviously they're groups, but it's not as intense as how it shows in the movies.
And that's always going to be true, right? Is that Hollywood is going to show you the, a dialed up version of whatever you're looking at. But in a more normal way, does this remind you of high school or school? No, it's totally different. How would you say that your schooling experience differed from the one in the film here?
Also, I think Canadian high school are different than American high school.
That's probably true. Ours are better. On average, ours are better. I can say, I haven't attended high school as a student for so long. I won't even tell you how long it's been. But there is a familiarity with what's going on here. Like there are groups, right? There are little cliquey groups of people that hang out. Some are more popular and cooler than others. There are some students who are kind of weird, and it feels the feel is kind of familiar, even though there's some extremes going on here, and none of the groups in our high school had names, right? Like they didn't, every group didn't have a name, but you kind of recognize groups of people who hung out together, and you kind of knew who was cool and who was not, right? I think that's the thing that feels familiar to me about what's going on here, is that there's these different groups of people, they hang out together, and they have different levels of coolness or status, or however you want to phrase it. The next question I wanted to ask here is, so what do these groups demonstrate regarding social norms? And to be honest, I'm not sure what answer I was looking for this question. I'm not sure what I intended when I asked it, but how would you answer that question?
There are different social norms and different social groups.
There's different social norms in different social groups. Yeah, that's probably very true, right? Each group is going to have its own rules, its own codes of behavior, things you do and things you don't do. What else would you suggest as an answer to that question?
There's always a group in power, and there are just people at low level.
Yeah, so there's so those groups have there's a hierarchy, right? Some groups have more status and power and prestige than other groups have, right? And what's kind of funny, what's kind of interesting is, I don't know if it has to do with our previous experience or our socialization, or just maybe the fact that we've watched movies a lot, but if I asked you to rank order those social groups, the you know, the Asian nerds and the cool Asians and all those. If I asked you to rank order them from number one, highest, most power, most prestige, to like lowest power, so most cool and most respected to least cool and least respected. If I asked you to rank order them, could you do it? Yeah. You probably could, right? We kind of know who's going to be at the top. Plastics. Who else? The jocks will be up there, right? The black hotties are probably up there somewhere. Who's at the bottom? The nerds might, yeah, the Asian nerds might be down there somewhere. Who else? Yeah, the girls who eat their feelings are probably down there at the bottom. The desperate wannabes are probably, they probably want to be popular because they're way down there, unfortunately. And so, yeah, it's kind of interesting, right? That even though we haven't seen much of this movie, we can, even when we went through the cafeteria, right? The camera's going through the cafeteria, and yeah, we can probably figure out who's cool and who's not, right? How are we able to do that? How are we able to figure out who's cool and who's not, even though we don't really, like we didn't even meet any of those people, right? We just kind of saw them quickly, except for maybe the plastics, we know them. But how are we able to organize them so easily?
Their name imply they're cool, they're good looking, so we might rank them higher. And yeah, and nerds and people who eat their feelings, these words imply like they're not very popular, so we could rank them lower.
Right, so it has something to do with the title of the group. It has something to do with kind of the visual impression that we get when the camera pans by them. But also, I almost hear like, by looking at that, by trying to determine who's on top and who's on the bottom, we can actually tell a little bit about the values of this society. What were values again, according to the textbook? The things that society...
The standard of
The what?
the standard of being good.
Yeah, the standard of being good or bad, right? Values are things that society thinks are good or bad and right and wrong, and things you should want and things you shouldn't want, right? And so based on how we know that this social structure exists, what kind of values does this high school society have? What do they value? Popularity, but how do we give popularity to them? Or why do some people become popular and some people not? What makes somebody popular in this movie? Maybe not in real life.
How they look.
Right. Their physical attractiveness, right? Are the plastics attractive? Yeah. The jocks? Yeah. The desperate wannabes? Maybe not so much, right? So there's a, and I'm not trying to judge these people, but I'm saying their physical attractiveness is valued, right? Physical attractiveness is valued. People who are pretty or handsome, they get more, people like them more, people think of them more favorably, right? It actually matters how good looking you are in this school. What else do they value, do you think? Money, right? Do the plastics have money? Yes,
Yes.
they do. What do they spend that money on?
Fashions.
Fashions? Cars, right? Regina's got a pretty nice Audi, I think.
No, that's a Lexus.
Oh, it was a Lexus?
Yeah.
Either way. Cash, right? I don't have a Lexus. Regina George has an Lexus. That's a Lexus, but I don't have a Lexus. Anyway, so physical attractiveness, money, right? Wealth is also valued, and so that helps them go to the top too. What else is valued here? What else makes these people at the top cool?
Beauty.
Right? Their beauty, right?
Their
Their we could probably put that into physical attractiveness, right?
I think it also depends on the uniqueness of their fashion choice.
Okay.
Because like they have
and we'll come to that in a second too. But fashion is probably another value, right? So not only are these girls very attractive and they're very wealthy, but they're also very well dressed, right? They're very fashionable and they coordinate their looks, right? You're not allowed to wear sweatpants just on Friday, right? Sweatpants on Friday. You can only wear your hair in a ponytail one day a week. If you're going to buy clothing, you've got to get the approval of the group first. So they are very fashion conscious, and probably one of the reasons is because the school society values that, right? They get power and respect from looking so fashionable. What else is valued? Anything else?
Their interests.
Right? Yeah, their interests. Some hobbies and interests and things people are good at are more valued than others. Is football highly valued? Yes. Is math highly valued?
No.
No. In fact, to be good at math is almost social suicide, or at least to be so good you would join a club, right? Whereas football, if you join the football club, that's not social suicide, that's the opposite, right? You're going to get status and respect for playing on the football team.
Well, one question is that why is math so? Why does everyone dislike math?
Why does everyone dislike math?
It's hard.
Because it's hard. Why is it hard? Just is? You're just not built for it?
Because like, if everyone hates math, then why is it always a social suicide if you want to join a math club?
Because the majority of us hate math, so the minorities are like, what are you doing? And they take you like on this side.
It is kind of interesting when you think about it, especially in that context, because what you're saying is that, being a mathlete is not cool, right? And because math is unpopular, because math is hard and a lot of people aren't good at it, right? But football, you could almost say the same thing about football, right? Joining football is not social suicide, but are a lot of people good at it? Not so much. I'm not. I can't throw a spiral.
Because football is kind of exercise, but you don't use math in real life.
You don't use math in real life? Oh boy. Math is important.
I mean, football, it's an exercise, so you look good. So they have looks to back them up.
Yeah, they do look good, and I guess it's football's an enjoyable thing as well, right? Or at least to watch. People like to watch football.
Because it's simple,
Yeah.
Like once you know the rules, they're not going to change or anything.
Yeah.
Then with math, there's like a whole lot of layers and stuff.
Nobody watches a math competition, right? Actually, we'll get to that in the movie a little bit later. Okay. And maybe one more thing. There's I think one more thing that this society might value, and I think it has to do with people's behavior.
Yeah,
Yeah, their confidence. They're cool, right? They know they're awesome, right? Or they at least are able to project that to everyone else, right? So yeah, the jocks and the plastics are really confident about who they are, and they're like, hey, we're the plastics, back off, right? We're coming through. Whereas other people may not have that level of confidence, right? They might not be strong enough to act like that, and so they kind of fall down the social hierarchy a little bit, right? Okay, so what criteria determines which group a person belongs to? So if you walked into that cafeteria, how do you know where you might sit? How do you know what group you might fit into? Your interests, right? So you might look for people, if you're a football guy, you might look for the football players' table. What else? Your appearance, okay. Give me more than that.
Like the way you dress might fit more like, I don't know,
Yeah, you might, in a way, you might be looking for people who look like you, right? So people who are, if you're dressed really fashionable, you'd probably look for people who are similarly dressed, right? And if you're just wearing, sweatpants and a t-shirt, you might try to look for people who are wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt too, right? Because culture is symbolic, right? We transmit meaning to the outside world based on the clothing we wear, right? Is there a reason why I'm not wearing a suit right now?
It's not comfortable.
They're not really. Unless you're just standing there and looking good, they're not comfortable, but I'm not going to go there because women have a whole array of uncomfortable clothing they wear, so I'm not going to complain about that. But that would transmit a different message, right? So the clothing I'm wearing is transmitting another message, right? It's kind of like cool, relaxed, not too formal. That's kind of the vibe I'm going for, right? If I was wearing a suit, it would project a totally different vibe, would it not? It would. So yeah, you might look for people who are dressed similar to you. What else? What else might you consider?
There's some stereotype. I mean, everyone think those people who wear glasses, they're married, and I think they can find each other. Although I'm not gay, but
Yeah, well, you would.
sometimes.
I guess if you were not Katie, like Katie's problem is that she has no socialization, right? She doesn't really understand the groups and the social hierarchy. So she comes in and she's like, I have no idea where to sit, right? But we, because we have been socialized a little bit, we might have a better idea, right? So we might know kind of where in that social hierarchy we fit, right? Maybe I know that I'm a total nerd and I'm not cool, so I'm going to look for the kids who are nerdy and not cool, right? I'm not going to go and sit at the football players' table unless I want to get beaten up or something, right? So we might have a sense of where we fit in just based on being able to categorize ourselves and then kind of knowing what those social groups might be, right? What else? Does race have anything to do with it? I feel like it does, right? Because of those social groups, a race is part of the name in a lot of them, right? The cool Asians are Asian. The Asian nerds are Asian. The unfriendly black hotties are black, right? We missed one, actually, the preppy guys. Preppy guys tend to be white, usually. So those are white guys, right? The plastics, gender comes into it as well, right? Because the plastics are they're all girls, they're all women, right? Same thing with the jocks. The jocks are all bros, right? They're all guys, yeah. So social groups have something to do with it too, and sort of like bigger societal social groups, your gender, your race or ethnicity, that might have something to do with it too, right? And so if I walked into a school and I was white and everyone in the school was black except for one table of white guys, would I be tempted to go and sit with the white guys? Maybe I would. I don't know, that's never happened, but you might look for people who are like you, right? In terms of hobby, in terms of gender, in terms of race. Yeah, you'll look for people who are like you. Okay, one last question before we go back to the movie here. What kind of rules are the plastics required to observe? What are the rules for being in the plastics?
I can tell that on Wednesday they have to wear pink.
Right, pink on Wednesdays, right? That's a rule. What's another rule?
No tank top for 2 days straight.
No tank tops for 2 days straight. Was that true? Okay, I missed that one. Okay, what else?
Can't date your friend's ex.
Right, you cannot. You're not allowed to date a friend's ex-boyfriend. That's like the rules of feminism. What else? Amanpreet says, yeah, ask the friends before shopping. So if you're going to buy something, you need the group's approval, right? Let's see. Yep. No ponytail. No ponytail. Was that once a week?
No, that's like ponytail once a week.
Once a week only. Okay. Only ponytail once a week. What else? Pink, the ponytails, the
Share who you have a crush on.
right. I guess they have kind of a, that's, I guess, an implied rule, right? Of that they kind of share everything with each other. Although they also backstab each other too, right? There was the three-way call where Regina kind of ambushed Katie, right? Because Gretchen was on the call too. That was mean. Oh yeah, and that the Friday dress code as well, right? So Amanpreet and Abby say, yeah, so only sweatpants only on Friday, right? Sweatpants only on Friday, the tank tops, the ponytails, the pink on Wednesdays. What's that? Oh, and yeah, no dating your friend's ex. Okay, so yeah, those are all rules that they follow. And so what happens if they break the rules, if somebody breaks the rules?
You can't sit with them.
Then you can't sit with them. Do you think that's a big deal? What?
It's a big deal.
What? For them? Yeah, well, why is it a big deal for them?
Because you can't sit at the lunch, then you have no friends.
She has another friend.
Because where are they gonna sit?
Yeah, there's a couple things happening, right? Because they kind of have a spot there in the plastics, and that cafeteria is very cliquey, right? It's very segregated into social groups, and so if somebody gets kicked out of the plastics and they can't sit with them, where are they going to sit, right? They don't belong in any other group. They'll probably have to try to find a place alone and sit alone. Is that so bad though?
She can make her own group.
She can what?
Make her own group.
She can make, yeah, they can make their own group. But why is it so bad to sit alone, do you think, in this cafeteria?
Because you look like a loner.
Because you'll look like a loner, right? So not only will you be kicked out of the group, I think only for a day, you can't sit with them at lunch, but you have to, that happens in front of everybody, right? Everyone sees that you got kicked out of the plastics. How's that going to look for you? It's going to be embarrassing. It's going to be humiliating, right? And we talked about that, is that, social shunning is actually very powerful with human beings, right? So this is a punishment, right? This is a social sanction, exactly like what we talked about or what we read about in the textbook. If you don't follow social rules within the group, you will be sanctioned, you will be punished, and you will be punished in front of everybody in the school. Everyone will see it, right? And so is that a powerful motivator, do you think? Yeah, are those girls going to follow the rules? Yeah, they are, right? It's so interesting, right? Because it's a very simple punishment. It's like, no, you can't sit with us, you have to sit somewhere else. Doesn't sound like much, but in practice, it's probably very effective, right? Because I'm sure if somebody got kicked out of the group and had to sit at a table by themselves, everybody in the cafeteria would be like, what's going on? I wonder why she's sitting alone. I wonder what happened. And everybody would be talking about you, and that would be uncomfortable too. So it's actually a very clever and powerful form of social control here. Just a slight social punishment is enough to keep these girls in line, right? Interesting. Okay. So we've got about 10 minutes left, people. So what I'll do is, online people, I'll turn you loose. Watch 10 more minutes of the movie, and then we'll be finished, and we'll come back to this on Tuesday, because Monday we're going to have the quiz, okay? So the particulars of the quiz are posted in Microsoft Teams. But other than that, for online people, I will cut you loose for now. You can watch 10 more minutes, and then you'll be done. I'll see you Monday for the quiz, first thing, and then Tuesday we'll pick up Mean Girls and continue, okay? So I'll sign off for online people. Have fun, have a great weekend, and I'll see you Monday.